Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for a squat day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below, be greatly appreciated. Down to 210 this morning, and for those who saw the pull-up video, I have to say, after that, I went back to bed, and I woke up, my trap was cramping super hard, my right trap. Middle of the trap, lower trap, and then it started working all the way up into the upper trap. So let me know I'm probably pushing the pull-ups too hard. I was a little scared I wasn't going to be able to squat today. But I'm going to have to find my threshold for how much I can do for pull-ups in a week. But I think the interesting thing is that if doing that many pull-ups, that many days in a row, started cramping my whole trap, it lets us know how effective the pull-up is for the trap, right? Starting to get some minor overuse signs pretty quickly just from doing that many pull-ups. And it's not impingement, it's not shoulder, it's purely trapezius. My actual shoulders feel great. Rotator cuffs feel great. So squatting was tough today, not gonna lie. This deep into the cutting. I'm looking forward to being able to bulk back up to 210 and watch my squats skyrocket again, especially now that I'm going back wider and fixing the weak links there with good mornings and stuff. Because again, this is kind of where it's like, man, 475 felt heavy for a double. Not gonna lie, it felt heavy. Now that being said, I don't have to squat 500. I don't even have to squat 475 at my regional, by the way. So I'm not that worried because again, I've just got to make weight. Then when I get used to being at these weights, then I can build the squats back up. But keeping in mind, and people don't realize how low the record is I'm needing to break, is only 534. So again, this is going to be completely doable. But I do have to get used to being at this body weight, and it's tough in the cut. And like I said, whenever I'm gaining, my squats blow up. Right? We've seen me add 50 pounds to a squat inside of a month. So again, we've seen this happen before. So what's going to happen here, I'm just going to train it the best I can, get used to the low bar, and then work on the weak points for it. Now, this isn't the best camera angle. I don't like the depth I'm seeing from this angle, but if you look at the safeties down below, this is a downward angle looking at my hips. I felt like I know that I'm hitting depth on these. But again, I need to be aware of that and think about that in the future. So a couple people have asked, why do you do the camber bar then for the boring but big? Mainly because it saves the shoulders. My shoulders didn't hurt at all on squats today, just the trap did. And I'm definitely feeling that right trap doing all this work, just because it's pressing on it and everything. And I want to keep it that way. The shoulder health is going to be important because I started getting some irritation last week, realized the press needs to come out. I can handle the low bar squats in limited amounts, and this way I can focus on my bench. All right, I'm just going to focus on the bench for my main upper body stuff. We're going to get the bench dialed in. We're going to bench twice a week. But that being said, I need to keep my shoulder health really on point, and this is just as hard. It's actually harder. The camber bar is harder than a straight bar. So it saves your shoulders. It puts no stress on the shoulders, and it still allows me to take a low bar position and wide stance with the lower body just fine. I can't do that as easily with like the safety squat bar. This bar lets me do that easier, so it more closely replicates the bar path I would use for the low bar squatting I'm doing, and with a wider stance. So this is where I'm doing my 5x10, and really some of my training volume for now is going to look, to some people a little funny. They're going to be like, you're just doing tons of your basic lifts and like one accessory and lots of pull-ups. It's pretty much how it's going to go. Like each of my days, I'm just going to look at, after my 5x10, I'm going to do it on squat, bench, and deadlift. We're going to look at where we're weakest at, and we pick an accessory for that. We pick an accessory for where we really need the extra muscle for those big lifts. The name of the game is blowing up your squat, bench, deadlift. And I honestly believe, realistically, you can look super jacked by blowing up your squat, bench, deadlift if you do a lot of pull-ups and stuff too. And so that's really my focus. It's going to be tons and tons of pull-ups. My big three, because I'm getting back into competing. We're competing again this year. And that means that accessory work is really going to be geared around just bringing up the weak links. And I think for now what I'm going to do, because a lot of my weak links I'll talk about benching tomorrow. We'll deal with that tomorrow. Let's talk about squats. Getting off topic. All right, so I feel like the muscles that are limiting my squat, now that I'm messing with the wider stance a bit, my quads are stupid big for what I'm doing. And plus, I'm still going to mess with some sled drags and things. Are going to get other work. Deadlifts also grow quads. People can argue about it all they want. They do. Now, that aside, I'm not as worried about my quads getting huge amounts of stimulus. They got 8 work sets today. That's good. Where I'm seeing the weakness is the glutes and the adductors, right? That's really what's holding back my squat right now. That's what's keeping me down where it is at the moment. It's not like a quad when I'm doing this wider stance. So it's going to be good mornings for a while, and I'm going to do them real wide stance. All right, so I'm going to mess with the wide stance good mornings, full range of motion. The weight's going to be light, and I'll work on volume, and then over time I'll build the weight back up. Now, I have done these with this over 300 pounds for 10 before, not with the wide stance. It's not quite this wide of a stance. So I may need to bring the stance in a little bit to get the weight up slightly, but I'm doing these starting out real wide, trying to make sure I'm hitting those adductors and glutes and everything. And I'm treating this as a posterior chain exercise. I'm not really doing it as a back movement. Over time, I may need to work it into being more of a back movement, so I may need to go into just a slightly narrower stance and slowly build the weight way back up heavy and again. But for now, these are challenging. Like, I feel a pump, I feel a stretch in the areas that are weak that I can tell are holding back my squat. And so maybe we'll kick in some muscle memory from when I had done, was doing 600 before this cut. Because people need to remember this cut's, I'm over 35 pounds into this cut. I've lost a lot of body fat and a lot of body weight. I'm not going to have the squat I had before. And if I do, I'm going to have to be even leaner than I am now because I'm going to have to regain muscle. But where that muscle's going to have to be is going to have to be the hips and the glutes, right? That's where I've lost the muscle as far as my squat regressing while losing over 30 pounds. It is specific muscles have gotten weaker. And plus, I haven't been doing good mornings during this cut. And I had gone back to narrower stance squatting. So we have potentially de-emphasized that stuff a little bit. So we need to bring it all back up. And I saw the same thing on my deadlift. All right, what's limiting my deadlift? My lower back and possibly my glutes. We're seeing a general trend here. This means that I need to be back to wide stance squatting, and it means good mornings and reverse hypers have to become mainstays again. Because it used to be. Those were big builders for me getting my squat and deadlift both to 600 plus. Back when I was bulked up over 240. All right, we need to make a return of those movements. Rebuild the muscle that we have lost cutting. So that's going to be the name of the game. Right now, squat days, I think I'm going to focus on the good morning. And deadlift days, obviously we're going to deadlift, we're going to focus on reverse hypers. Now, all these days, I want to be able to work on where I was doing pull-ups again every day because I felt like when I was doing that every workout, it was good. Problem is now that I tried to work it in before workouts and doing those, close to failure sets, that's becoming a problem. So I think what I need to do is maybe limit those to off days and only on training days. And I'm taking the day off from doing pull-ups. After this, the 18 I knocked out this morning, which I'm happy with 18. I want to get to 20. But that's going to happen eventually. So maybe only do the morning pull-ups on the off days I'm not really training. And then just do non-failure sets, like 5x10s like I've been doing at the end of each workout, right? But I want to work back into doing at least 20 sets, over 20 sets a week of pull-ups. Because I feel I get a lot out of them. And as long as they're sub-failure sets, we can get away with that sort of volume. And then everything improves, grip improves, my whole back improves, everything from the middle back all the way up to the traps seems to improve from them for me. So I need to keep hammering them, and they need to be a staple lift. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.